Time to commit to what you really believe about yourself, and it's time to raise the bar in your daily life. And there may be a cat fight on Sunday. All that and more in your soul horoscopes and emotional weather forecast. If you're watching us on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Serious Joy TV. Please click like on this video, and if you don't mind, hit the bell button so you're notified, so we collectively defeat the algorithm overlords. The Serious Joy Nonlinear TV network is simulcasting right now on many media affiliates, including Instagram, X.com, and Facebook, just to name a few. Hello friends, welcome to Soul Horoscopes and the Emotional Weather Forecast. I'm Christopher Witecki, your sensei to Serious Joy and the channel guardian of the STEP astrology system. This month in Aquarius, we are meeting our ancient future. The paradox of ancient and future is no accident. If you want to know more, check out my Countdown 2026 webinar. But overall, you know we're entering into a new age altogether. It's the dawn of the age of Aquarius. And this Aquarius season demands that you first believe in yourself before you attempt any next step. And what is the next step? Well, a step 13 full moon in Leo this Sunday may trigger cat fights, temper tantrums, and diva dives, only to reveal to everyone on the planet that they are not following what their heart really believes. They're following what they think they should be doing. So in this week's Soul Horoscopes, I'll give you an affirmation statement about where to focus your beliefs and give you the treasure map to surviving this Leo cat fight full moon. But first, a little housekeeping and your emotional weather forecast. Serious Joy Academy is now offering gift certificates called Gifted Scholarships in 6-month, 9-month, and 1-year increments. This is the first time we've ever offered this. Serious Joy is the most accurate astrology service in the world. And now you can stun your loved ones with a spiritual mirror that helps them every day. Visit SiriousJoy.academy to make your purchase. That's SiriousJoy.academy. Available now. Well, now that we have humanity down, let's take a look at you and your soul horoscope, your favorite part of the show. Well, it's an interesting week, to be honest, very appropriate for Aquarius. We begin on Monday, making a decision that we need to be on our own side about something in our life. And ironically, being on our own side means that we are standing by our uniqueness, our individuality. And that's what Aquarius is all about. The thing about Age of Aquarius that's so exciting is that everybody is different, and it's cool to be different, complete opposite of what we've been knowing here on Earth so far. So on Monday, you will decide to stand next to yourself. This comes after last week where the sun crossed Pluto, and we made a heartfelt commitment to protect our belief in ourselves. Something may have happened last week that made you protect your belief in yourself, or you're the only one in your life to be appearing to believe in yourself over one or many issues. Well, now on Monday, you decide and declare to yourself, you are to stand by yourself. That means you must believe in yourself when no one else will. And that also means that with Neptune now moving into Aries on the same day, that your spiritual mission is to move forward officially. So you'll feel that your calling or your mission or your legacy, whatever it is you feel like you have agreed to before life, is now in full motion. That will be exciting. Now on Tuesday, things also shift up because Mars will cross Pluto and you'll be forced to act on believing in yourself. You might be put to a challenge. Something may dare to, question you, or you may just have a scary moment where you have to step off of a ledge, and believing in yourself will be utmost important. So, sort of like the Fool card that you see in the major arcana. But either way, by Thursday, you'll then not only believe in yourself, but you'll then declare in your outer world on Thursday that it's time for a new idea, a new perspective, and a new approach on your daily life. So just a very quick, rapid advancement if you look at it, moving from step 8 on Monday all the way to step 13 on Sunday. Now, what that means is you declare your allegiance to yourself, you then hold that space and make it real, And as soon as you make it real, come Saturday, you start to explore your options. And by Sunday, you might have a temper tantrum. A full moon in Leo at 13 is an Aquarius full moon. That means it's kind of a temperamental, shocking, maybe who knows? Who knows? That's exactly the words. Who knows what will happen when that happens, because it is random, it is quantum, and it means that you're going through a dimensional shift. But because it's in that 4, it may take a breakdown to bring a breakthrough. So for each of the 12 signs today, in the order of the steps, we'll talk about these events exactly. I'll talk about what it is that you are deciding and declaring, and by the end of the week, what that full moon in Leo will mean for you. Let's start with the Scorpios. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome back. Well, this week is interesting to you because you are on the home family transit of the year. Aquarius is the energy you use to belong and to feel nurtured. And because it's Aquarius, it's very, very unique. It's a unique signature that makes you feel like you, or makes you feel at home. And what's happening with Pluto now in Aquarius is you are changing your beliefs with Pluto at 3 degrees about what you deserve and what you need to be emotionally nurtured. In fact, I think for most Scorpios, you did not believe you needed much. I think Scorpios were not very much a pampering type, but that was the Scorpion Scorpio. And I would say the Ascendant Scorpio is the Eagle Scorpio, the one that flies high. You could say that Ascension for you is from the Scorpion to the Eagle. And in order to get there, you have to build a better nest, quite frankly. It's not enough to be underground in a burrow. You need a nice, cozy nest high up in a penthouse sort of suite. So in that context, you now believe that you deserve more, or believe differently, or believe you need more at least in order to feel grounded and feel good. That was the Sun-Pluto conjunction last week. As you start off on Monday, you decide, hey, I deserve to stand by my own side. I'm going to stick up for myself with my landlord, or for myself when it comes to my, bed provider, like mattress seller. I have to stand by myself when it comes to what I need in the morning and what I don't need. I mean, whatever that pampering is, you're going to have to realize you have to stand by yourself. Now, from that perspective, you'll also realize that that's the day your life changed, because spiritually, you are not meant to suffer, and you're not meant to have to sacrifice. That's an old school scorpion insect sort of way. You're meant to fly way above the turbulence and have a nice bird's eye view of the world, not to be caught in the mayhem. So this is the beginning of your spiritual advancement in spiritually evolving your daily life and the quality of your life, something you've been waiting for a long time. Now, as we move forward in the week, you'll also have a realization when we have Mercury conjunct Venus that you now have to take on a different attitude about what home is. Home is not the same as it was. Whatever it is, home must be where your heart belongs. So in other words, it must be exactly what your heart wishes for, not wishes could, but wishes for. There's a difference. And in that perspective, you realize it's now time to upgrade your home, your nurturing, your pampering, maybe even the massages that you have in a given year, maybe to double them or something. But you need more to feel more comfortable. And this is so that you can move forward in your everything in life. In other words, you could say that you're getting different potting soil so you can have yourself a much more larger harvest of your soul garden in the coming year. Now, then comes Neptune into Aries. Now, Neptune into Aries does mean, starts on Monday. It means that you're taking responsibility now for not just a spiritually evolved or spiritually enlightened life, but that you also make room for your personal dreams. That is personal love, a love affair, a creative project, the things your heart has always most wanted. It's not just to make a better home, it's a better home so that you can have better personal dreams happen, which then leads to a daily lifestyle change. So all three are going to be changing. Then by the full moon on Sunday, you might have a bit of a change of heart when it comes to career. You're going to realize that your career legacy needs to have more love coming from it, which means you have to put more love into yourself and your foundation in order to get more of the blooms and blossoms you want out of career and legacy. Your heart basically may be really upset if someone at work or someone in your career does not treat you the way you want, or the same liking. You might realize that what you have is quite dull, and it's time to move the notch up when it comes to personal achievement. And it is. If you follow your heart, which means you have the foundation, you can have the daily work lifestyle that you've always wanted. So I think for Scorpios, you better give them that little extra desk space or the window unit, or you're in for some surprises if you're a boss of a Scorpio. Hello, Leos. Welcome back. And this week, it might be a little temperamental in the relationship department. Let's drill down and talk about it. First of all, your mantra for the week is, I believe in my unique approach to relationships. I believe in my unique approach to relationships. The truth is that you do have a unique approach to relationships, and that's because you are one of a kind when it comes to love. The way you love is like no one else loves. And so therefore, your approach to loving and exchanging love has to also be quite unique. But given the world we have been in with the dim Aquarius vibration, we haven't been allowed to be who we really are. and you haven't been allowed to be who you really are in relationships. You've always fit into a certain box. Well, last week, the sun crossed Pluto, and that said it was time to protect what you believe about yourself in your marriage. You have certain needs in your marriage that maybe no one can actually satisfy in a relationship. And you might have realized that you had to hold that space and believe in yourself when no one else would believe in yourself. As of Monday, you will decide and commit to this new approach to your marriage, a new approach to yourself, a new approach to handling yourself, and really being your own best partner and your own best friend. On Monday, also, Neptune moves into Aries, which means your spiritual intentions will move forward, and your spiritual intentions moving forward have to do deliberately with believing in yourself. So to move forward in your intentions would first be to believe in yourself 100%. And you'll feel your intuition coming online and being assistant in that area. But this all moves down to a new change of opinion. By Thursday, you will change your opinion about how you should approach relationships altogether. You'll realize that your approach has not included what you need from yourself. So you'll now understand what to give yourself, which means you'll understand what to ask from others. And so there's a real clarity happening when it comes to relationships altogether. But it all melts down when there's a full moon in your sign on Sunday. On Sunday, that full moon at step 13 means there might be a breakdown in your behavior. It could be in a performance that you're in. You could have sort of a wardrobe mishap, like coffee on a white shirt or something that actually causes a breakdown in your ego. Someone may trigger you by disrespecting you or saying the wrong thing, which would cause you to break down too. And what you'll realize in that moment is you are not following what your heart believes when it comes to love, and you're not following what your heart believes when it comes to relationships. That if someone doesn't understand you, it's probably because you are not putting forward the type of relationship policy that you really want. And so in essence, you're going to shift your policy and take your relationship or your approach to relationship to a whole new level. So it looks like the Leos are going to be through the week evolving how they relate to others. And because you weren't committed to yourself and didn't believe you deserved it, or didn't believe something in yourself, you weren't able to see this or enforce this until now. But by the full moon in your sign, you will be at a point where you are ready to demand a certain level of expectation. You could say it's your green room list that no one's going to be able to be your friend unless there's green M&Ms and certain types of cola in the waiting room, right? Another thing to notice too, the believing in your unique approach, that's what it's time to do. Believe that your approach will work for you. Maybe not for everyone, but for you and the special someones. We'll see you next week. Hello, Cancers. Welcome to another fabulous week. Well, Aquarius for you has to do with your trust and intimacy issues. And last week when the sun crossed Pluto, you might have realized that you really have to believe in yourself and hold that belief tight in order to draw the boundaries with yourself you need, and later draw the boundaries with others that you need as well. And so this week you start Monday with deciding and committing to stand by whatever that belief is, to stand by yourself, to have a certain approach to yourself, a certain law or rule with yourself around trusting yourself. And at the bottom of that, you must protect believing in yourself. You cannot allow anything to interfere with your belief in yourself if you're going to maintain these new boundaries with self. In fact, it is later in the week on Thursday when Mercury and Venus conjoin that you realize a whole new opinion about how boundaries need to change with others. So you're going to recognize that your policy with others is not correct, and that makes sense. After all, your policy with yourself was not working very well either. But then we also have Neptune moving into Aries. And that means that your spiritual mission officially now moves into making better decisions for yourself. You can be the best and brightest possible in your spiritual life if you employ decisions that are good for you and that also align with your spiritual practice and spiritual values. So bring spirituality into decision-making of all kinds. But then things really heat up when it comes to the weekend. After you manifest this solid boundary program with yourself, you realize with a full moon in Leo that shift may hit the fan. Now, what may happen is a financial crisis. You might have a bill come back or a check bounce or something not go well financially. Could be a vendor that doesn't supply or someone that doesn't pay you. But whatever the crisis is, it does definitely cause a temper tantrum. I would expect some anger. It's a very tender part of your chart for the Leos and Leo risings. For the Cancers and Cancer risings. But that energy of Leo, the full moon at 13 is going to call for you to have a minor breakdown only to lead to a breakthrough. The truth is you have been not approaching your value or your money according to what your heart believes. You've been approaching it to what your heart thought it had to be, or making others happy, or making a choice out of low self-worth, but not what your heart believes, really not. So if you apply this idea that you must follow what your heart believes when it comes to business, that means that you're going to have to change your boundaries with others. They must also be what your heart believes. So this will be an upgrade in your ability to have higher, more sophisticated boundaries with others that keeps the wrong out and the right in and protects what's sacred to you in order for you to have a complete transition of intimacy over this whole section of Aquarius. So your mantra for the week is, I believe in unique intimacy. I believe in unique intimacy. In other words, Cancers really must have a unique formula to their intimacy. They cannot be connected to just anyone because they are not just anyone. And so because you're the great caregivers of the Zodiac, perhaps your boundaries must be very, very unique. We'll see you next week. Hello, my Sagittarian. Welcome to a new week. Well, uniqueness for you has to do with your unique ideas. In fact, your mantra for the week is, I believe I have unique ideas. And that's true. Sagittarius do have unique ideas. It comes from them understanding everything else in culture. They see what is not seen, and that's why they think in very unique ways and have really good humor most of the time as well. So this week it begins really with following through with last week's conjunction of Pluto in protecting your belief in yourself. Particularly, you must protect your belief in yourself when it comes to how you talk to yourself on the inside. You don't always follow what you believe when you talk to yourself. I think sometimes Sagittarius almost put themselves down for fun, but you don't realize the damage you do when you talk to yourself in that way. So when you talk to yourself or you think of yourself, you must be on the side of you, and you must believe in yourself when you talk to yourself, not disbelieve in yourself. So either building yourself up or you're breaking yourself down. This will also lead on to a new opinion about the world at large. You're going to realize that you have a new opinion on all sorts of things now that you stop putting yourself down or have breakdowns in your belief in yourself thinking. Now, Neptune moving into Aries is powerful for you because it means your spiritual mission now officially moves to self-love. It is time to love yourself and love yourself some more. And this is your spiritual mission. In other words, you will not achieve what you want to spiritually unless you raise the self-love in yourself, starting with your thoughts and later next month moving on to feelings. It's going to be a powerful couple of months for you of growth. Now, this all comes to a full moon in the end of the week where you might have a bit of a passionate breakdown about belief you have or education. You might get to an argument with someone about what's right and what's wrong, or you might have something experienced be questioning yourself, and you realize that that the love you are getting for your knowledge is not enough. And that's because you likely are not thinking and believing yourself to begin with in your own thoughts. And so the full moon for you is a bit of a fight or an argument or a passionate breakdown when it comes to belief structure. But what it concludes is that you must always follow what you believe when it comes to your thinking and when especially it comes to your communication. You are not here to please others, even though you have the capability of pleasing others quite well. You are here to express this unique belief because your unique perception on things is often something that no one has considered. And having that be such a unique perspective, you have the ability now to create change and innovation simply by approaching the conversation from a different perspective. All in all, I think Sagittarius are evolving in a great way. And the age of Aquarius for you will be bringing you innovative, incredible ideas to the world, especially as we relate to each other. But again, none of this can happen unless you protect your belief in yourself in your conversation to yourself. It's where you have conversation with yourself that your vibration is not high enough. And that's the reason why you may not be respected for your knowledge. And that's the reason you may not be taking the correct opinion with others. As soon as you believe in yourself 100% when you talk to yourself, you will find that things are lacking your approval. But you're pretty smart. I'm sure you're going to get onto it very quickly. We'll see you next week. Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to another fabulous week. Happy birthday, if I haven't said so far. Well, for you, the mantra of the week is, I believe I am unique. And you are, Aquarius. You are unique. In fact, if you don't come out of the closet with how unique you are, you won't inspire the rest of us to come out of ours. You are going to lead us in this adventure, and you're going to lead us by being honorable to yourself and also loving yourself in the background. Last week, when the sun conjoined Pluto at 3 degrees, you may have come to the conclusion that you must believe in yourself always when it comes to the way you reply to yourself. No matter how you respond to yourself, it must come from the position of fully believing in yourself. You cannot come from the position of doubting yourself whatsoever. You must believe in yourself every time you have any response to yourself, whether that's official in the physical world, such as how you treat yourself literally, or how you treat yourself energetically on the inside. You must be according to what you believe in yourself. Now, that's going to lead to later in the week on Thursday, a new opinion about your behavior or a new opinion about your personality or a personality trait. Something you might have done all the time, such as crack jokes in the office or maybe be silent when you hear something stunning. Whatever, some sort of little subtle reaction like that, you'll realize is inappropriate. And you'll realize it's time for a new approach to that situation. Now, with Neptune moving into Aries, it means that your spiritual mission now is to think of yourself on a much higher level. You must think of yourself higher with your inner thoughts. You must bring spiritual compassion to your inner thoughts. You must bring your spiritual knowledge to your inner thoughts and your self-talk. And you must always speak to yourself as equals, or maybe even admiring yourself if you want to go really far. You want to change that language to admire, or at least treat yourself equally, never putting yourself down. This is where you may have some mayhem and trouble and may cause the whole thing to collapse, your intentions to grow forward. Now, this all leads to you being committed by the end of the week to a new approach to how you relate to yourself. You're coming to a new way of responding and relating, and the way you treat yourself altogether. And of course, the way you treat yourself is the way people will treat you. So you should see immediate change in your relationships. If you don't worry. By Sunday, there's a full moon in Leo at 13 degrees. This is a good thing on the one hand, because this is a degree that is yours, net 4. So you will kind of be the most powerful of all the 12 signs in this full moon. Other new full moons will have a harder time in all the other signs. But it also means there will probably be some sort of a breakdown in a relationship that matters to you to some degree, or it wouldn't cause so much anger or frustration. Excuse me. But that means that there'll be a passionate breakdown on one or many relationships. It could be a theme. And what you're going to realize is that this could be caused by a low vibration behavior that you have in the first place. You might have drawn this situation to you by the way you behave, or you might have had a breakdown in your behavior that then revealed a crack in the relationships. Either way, the takeaway for Aquarius is the way you treat yourself is the way people will treat you. And the way you treat yourself is not high vibration enough for the age of Aquarius. So at the end of the day, believe that you are very unique. And that means that you need unique treatment. That means you have to have a unique personality. And that means that your relationships will be understood by unique terms and conditions. It's time to be your unique self, and that requires unique love. Hello, Gemini. Welcome back. Well, the Geminis this Aquarius season are working on innovating their belief structure. Since Geminis are so linear, it takes a push like Pluto to make you think on higher dimensions. It's not that you don't think higher, it's just that you think so well within whatever you're in. You're sort of the circuit that brings things together, not the multidimensional sort of circuit that brings things from different planets together. But now it's changing. The Geminis are increasing their belief structure and taking it to new vibration. And last week when the Sun conjoined Pluto, you should have come to realize that you have to protect your belief in yourself, period. That what you believe in yourself, nobody else will believe about you. Only you believe that. And therefore, you must be the protector and guardian of your belief in yourself. This week, you will decide on Monday that you do, in fact, believe in yourself, and that's the way it's going to be, so say you. But that will be tested as soon as Tuesday, when Mars actually conjoins Pluto and forces you to defend that belief in yourself, either with yourself or maybe involved with someone else. What this will lead to on Thursday is a new opinion about belief, or a new opinion about education, or a new opinion about travel, or a new opinion about school at large, or what education does. So it's going to lead to a change of mind when it comes to your approach of all knowledge. Now, with Neptune moving into Aries, it means that your spiritual mission now is to protect where you belong in the world. You must tell the world, hey, give me a space out there. I have a unique position out there. You need to leave me a seat at the table. And that protection might be through conversation with others, or filing permits to get certain things, or filing interest in business, whatever. It's just you want to say to the world, hey, save me a seat. I'm going to be there one day. Now, this will conclude, however, with your destined career taking off. I mean, this is what's necessary for your destiny, is for you to follow through on the destiny and tell the world to make a place for you. Most likely a career change coming up anytime this year. But this may all go a little haywire, or at least be tested on Sunday, because the full moon in Leo is going to make you a little bit slippery of the tongue. You might say something a little too far. You may have the wrong approach with someone. A communication may be misunderstood. But what it causes is a breakdown and breakthrough of what you believe in general about life. You're going to see that it leads to a little bit of an education about what beliefs are or not, or a little education about what education must involve. So you're going to say a slippery tongue, or going a little too far, or saying a little too much, might make you realize that you are smarter than you thought, but perhaps you weren't stepping or coming from that position. It could be your own doubt in yourself, in what you know or don't know, that causes a problem in the first place. And so it all goes back to that Sun conjuncting Pluto, that you must, in every sentence and every word, believe in yourself, and so it is. If you don't hold that true for the entire year, because that's the Sun-Pluto conjunction, then you may find that you have trouble along the way. This Sunday being the first example of what trouble is. Hello, Libra. Welcome now to Aquarius season. And this is one of your favorite topics, love. But one favorite topic that is not so favored is self-love. You tend to want to love everyone without loving yourself. And that leads us to our mantra of the week for you. I believe my self-love is very unique. I believe my self-love is very unique, and indeed it is. You are to give to yourself and love yourself on a level that no one probably understands or could comprehend. This gives you a huge well of self-love energy to give to others and also to invest in others, but also it will raise the quality of love altogether. Now, it begins with the beginning of the week on Monday. You'll decide that you deserve a certain type of self-love, a certain quality of self-love, and that self-love must be protected. And your belief that you deserve it must be protected as well. You must believe that you deserve it. And you must protect that you believe you deserve it. That means you say to yourself, I deserve it, and you don't discuss it any further with yourself whatsoever. That is a boundary. And then you'll end up on Thursday with a new opinion about love or romance or children or creative projects altogether. So this commandment to love yourself on this high, unique level leads to a whole new attitude or opinion about love in general, including children and creative projects. Now, during the week, we have, of course, at the very beginning, Neptune entering into Aries. And with Neptune in the Aries, it means that your spiritual mission is now to support yourself first. In order to fulfill your spiritual destiny, you must support yourself first, and you must be most compassionate to yourself before others. Not others, but you. I know this is different than what you're used to, but this is going to be what causes the upgrade. This coincides with a new spiritually destined lifestyle that's coming to be true. You've asked for a new lifestyle. You want to live a different quality of life. And so the first step in that is to radically defend and spiritually nurture your approach to yourself and what we call your me rich. Now, all this comes into an interesting moment on Sunday. We have a full moon in Leo at 13 degrees. And this could be a bit of a breakdown somewhere in society, a blow up maybe on social media, or something where you have egg on your face. But what it comes down to is that in the public, you are not being what your heart believed you to be. You were not where you belonged or where you believed you belonged. You were not in accordance with your authenticity. So you're either in the wrong place at the wrong time, or you are expressing something that's not truly authentic to you. And what you're going to find is that's because you have to have a change of heart with yourself. That your heart must follow what your heart believes. You cannot follow what other people believe so that you're likable. You cannot follow what other people wish of you so that you can get what you want. You must follow only what your heart believes is true about love and only be where you belong, not where you don't belong. So you could say the old Libra was a Libra that would get along with anybody and be a diplomat to any situation. The new evolved Aquarius Libra really only plugs and plays into where they are alike. So in other words, you're only meant to be a diplomat to the people that are like you. You're not meant to be a diplomat to everyone in the world. And that comes from being exclusive to your own self-love and exclusive to your love projects. Hope that makes sense to you. I'll see you next week. Hi, Pisces. Welcome back. Your mantra for the week is, I believe I have a unique relationship to God. I believe I have a unique relationship to God. And you do, but you don't necessarily believe. That's because you don't always believe in yourself when connecting to God. You don't come from a place of self-belief. You might come from a place of self-doubt or worry or guilting yourself for the past, but you're not 100% believing in yourself when you pray or connect to spirituality. And that has been corrupting situations for you for a long time. So you must now officially protect your belief in yourself before you connect in general to higher self. And that means you must protect belief in yourself whenever you are reaching for faith. You will not have faith in yourself if you not believe in yourself in the first place. And that's something that will be a constant now with Pluto in that space. This will lead later in the week to a new opinion or approach about spirituality, past lives, or a karmic situation. So you're going to change your mind about something that's very spiritually familiar to you. Now, with Neptune moving into Aries, it means that your spiritual mission is now self-worth and acting on raising your self-worth wherever you can. And that means that if it involves spirit or money, it should basically involve both. You want to find combinations of the two to where you're being faithful to your faith and at the same time being faithful to your wallet. And this comes as sort of a carry-on to you being committed now to a new character or new personality. You're reinventing yourself, and the first thing you must do to reinvent and follow through is to make self-worth a spiritual mission. Now, the full moon in Leo on Sunday at 13 degrees may cause a breakdown in your health, your lifestyle, a piece of equipment, something you use every day, part of your routines, or it could be literally a situation among peers at work. But there will be a breakdown. It could be your heart breaking down for reasons that it had held on too long or not had faith, or you're just not receiving the love that you're putting into the job, or you're not putting into the job what you want to receive. But either way, it makes you come to the determination to reinvent your faith in general. You're going to realize that you're not following what your heart believes when it comes to spirituality, and it's because you weren't following what your heart believes that caused the breakdown in day-to-day work. Overall, what this is about for Pisces is stepping into the higher faith. You've spent the first lifetime on Earth focusing on cleaning up your dark ages and clearing up all of your fears, your worries, and your personal guilt. Now that we're moving into lifetime 2, your mission is to get closer to God than any other sign. After all, how can you be the ruler of the 12th house if your 12th house is low dimensional? I don't know, but I'll see you next week, Pisces. Hello, Captain, and welcome into Aquarius now. Aquarius energy for you is your structure around values. You are a vibrational value person. In other words, you go by the vibe of something to determine what value it has. This is how you can sort of read a product's worth and know a good sale when you see one. You can literally sniff out the sale while driving down the street. I've witnessed it. It's pretty incredible. But now it's time to up those values. It's time to step into that uniqueness. In fact, your mantra for the week is, I believe I have unique things to materialize into the earth. I believe I have unique things to materialize. Now, that comes from, of course, the placement of Aquarius. And last week when the sun conjoined Pluto, it called for you to first believe in yourself before asking yourself what you're worth. You cannot evaluate your self-worth unless you commit to believing in yourself first. If you don't believe in yourself, you're wasting your time asking yourself what you are capable of. Now, what this will do is by protecting that, you'll find that it is immediately challenged on Tuesday. So you have to stand up and stick up for what you are worth, which means you're going to have to believe in yourself to stick up for what you're worth. And then by Thursday, you're going to find you have a different opinion altogether about investments or a finance project or something your money is entangled with. So it's going to lead to a change of finances or opinion about finances simply by sticking by believing in yourself and believing in your worth. Now, with Neptune moving into Aries, it means that your spiritual mission now is to feel good day to day. That's right. The only thing God universe wants you to do is feel good or feel gooder. This comes after you now manifesting a new attitude on life, which is what Pisces was about. 28 degrees Pisces Saturn says you are now being responsible for a new attitude, but that attitude cannot survive unless you are going to nurture yourself on the level like you never have and make it your spiritual mission. That includes compassion, by the way. That's the biggest force. That is the biggest force of compassion, of energy to help emotion, actually. And then we have that full moon on Sunday. Now, the full moon on Sunday means that there may be a boundary infraction. Someone may trespass. There might be a betrayal. There might be a breaking of the rules, or you getting caught sneaking about something, or issues around inheritance or will. But what it's really about is that you're not following what your heart believes when it comes to your value. You're not following what your heart believes when it comes to what you are capable of. So the little slippery issue with your heart breaking down over a crossing of a trespass or of a boundary really comes down to the fact that if you went with what you believed, then you would get exactly what you wanted. But then again, we have to have the house that Jack built. You can't follow what your heart believes unless you are committed to protecting your belief in yourself, which then leads to your self-worth. Does that make sense? I hope so, Capricorn, because you're going into business in the new era. And welcome to the dawn of the age of Aquarius. Well, for the air eye, Aquarius has to do with where you fit into society. It turns out you're supposed to be the unique one, not the pawn or the soldier or the one that gets counted for many or just your strength. So for that reason, your mantra of the week is, I believe I have a unique place in society. I believe I have a unique place in society. And you do. Now, last week when the sun crossed Pluto, it was a calling for you to believe in yourself whenever you are in the world. If you question your belief in yourself, even for a moment, you're not going to be able to find where you uniquely belong. You have to believe in yourself from the get-go. And what's going to happen is you're going to be called to commit to that belief in yourself this week. Then you'll be tested on it on Tuesday. Something may force you to have to stand up for yourself or stand up for your belief in yourself in the moment. But then by Thursday, you're going to find you have a different opinion about who you are in the world and who you are not. So a shift in opinion about your place in society. Now, with Neptune moving into your sign, it means that your spiritual mission is now to make your self-treatment a priority in life. How you treat yourself is your holy ground. And if you make that your spiritual intention to treat yourself on a holier scale, I think you're going to find you get better performance out of yourself and that you respond to yourself with compassion, which is what's most important now. You must be compassionate to allow yourself to make this grand transformation you're about to make in the world. Now, this will lead to a commitment of your spiritual vision. You've already got a mission per se. The Pisces energy for you has to do with that spiritual mission. Now that you're in your second lifetime, this mission can only come about if you treat yourself with yourself believing in yourself in the first place. Now, lastly, the full moon in Leo for you is going to be a bit of a childish breakdown. You may end up whining like a baby, or breaking down, or having a fight with a loved one, or a fight with one of your children, or a fight involving a creative project. But what's really happening is that you are leading to an innovative approach to yourself in society at large. Either you are not giving yourself enough credit, so therefore you're not in a place where you get the credit, or you're not really putting your heart into what you believe when you put yourself in the world, or you may not be following what your heart believes when it comes to children or creativity. What it comes down to is this: if you believe in yourself, then you'll know where you belong in the world. If you know where you belong in the world, you'll know what your heart deserves. And if you follow what your heart believes, you'll get exactly what you put out there. Aries are now here to do something very unique. You were part of the age of Aries, so as part of destruction, but you probably did not realize that you're also a large part of the innovation. Having Aquarius in the 11th house means that Aries will be the sign to actually build the age of Aquarius and hold steady. Makes sense, actually. You're the ones that jumped the fence and were the ones that took over lands. You're the ones that built machinery and made the manufacturing age happen. So it makes good sense that you be the ones to build the age of Aquarius. We'll see you next week. Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Aquarius. Did you know that the Taurus race is the ones responsible for managing and leading into the age of Aquarius? That's because you have Aquarius as your career or legacy. It is your legacy to bring the age to us. Well, that makes sense because you are the builders of the Zodiac. Well, last week, the universe said to you, you must believe in yourself 100% before you make any decisions for yourself. Make no decision if you don't believe in yourself 100%. Now, that starts this week with a commitment to that belief. This week, you commit to believing in yourself in order to make the best decisions for yourself. In other words, do not doubt yourself. If you're doubting yourself, wait and then make the decision until you're sure. This will lead to a major change of opinion on Thursday in regard to your career, legacy, or parenting direction. It may also be a change of opinion about how you lead someone or something or organization. Now, with Neptune moving into Aries, it means that your spiritual mission is officially to have faith in yourself. You need to know nothing else about spirit or God or have any more opinions about what spirituality is. You simply must have faith in yourself, period. You owe it to yourself, and that means compassion as you do so. Now, the full moon that's happening this week on Sunday is at 13 degrees Leo, which means there might be a breakdown, a fight or a conflict with home, family, perhaps a landlord or whoever is responsible for the home. And what it comes down to is a breakdown in how you feel day to day. That you are breaking down emotionally day to day because you are not following what your heart believes you deserve. Now, you may be giving yourself the bare minimum, but is it what your heart believes you deserve? See, if it's not what your heart believes you deserve, then you will not be properly set up to do this career innovation. So the full moon will lead to end results. One, that you have to treat yourself with even more love at home. That means you have to have a higher thread count in the sheets or a better fabric softener. But it also means that if you don't do it, you're not going to be able to stand up and be innovative in your career. Since you are helping to change the world and take it to new heights and doing things you've never done before, you, Taurus, must stand on a solid ground and feel very grounded and very well nurtured. Having not been well nurtured and grounded, you'll not be able to do this little magic. Now, one last interesting point that I'll put out there is it has to do with Uranus in your sign. Because Uranus is now at 27 degrees Taurus, you're now moving forward with the innovation of your character. It's time to polish and refine how you put yourself out there and allow yourself to innovate your image as much as the quality of your work. All right, Taurus, we'll see you next week. Virgos, welcome to another spectacular week. Well, this week in Aquarius, you are exploring your health issues, and health issues come down to the way you are with yourself, believe it or not. In fact, if you don't vibe with yourself, your body gets sick, if you haven't noticed. And last week, as the Sun conjunct Pluto, it called for you to believe in yourself no matter what before expecting health out of yourself. That the degradation of your health may be, in fact, the degradation of your believing in yourself. Now, believing in yourself comes down to what your heart feels is true. Not what you think, not what the facts are, not what you've observed, but what your heart feels is true. That is what you believe. So follow what your heart believes in yourself altogether, and your health will fall into alignment. Now, this will lead later on to a test the following day on Tuesday. Well, Monday, you'll have to commit to this new belief in yourself and commit to this new way of approaching yourself in order to get the best health out of yourself. Then Tuesday, you'll be tested on this. So something may challenge your ability to stand by that belief or challenge your belief. But then by Thursday, you'll come to a new opinion about the way your lifestyle should be, or not just your lifestyle. It could be work. It could be some situation as far as what you use as equipment or machinery or tactic. But there'll be a change of opinion about day-to-day life. Now, moving into Neptune and Aries, It looks like your spiritual mission has officially shifted now that it's moved into Aries. And your mission now is to bring faith and compassion to your self-trust, your boundaries, and your personal integrity issues. You must have faith that you'll find the right boundary. You must have faith that you will uphold the boundary. You must have faith that you will trust yourself when the time comes. This faith is going to lead you to be able to fulfill your spiritual intention to have a great relationship to the world and to life at large. Saturn at 28 degrees Pisces is taking authority now to move into the next chapter of spiritual relationships. And to get there, you're going to have to absolutely have this faith in yourself and make it your spiritual mission to trust yourself and draw the right boundary. Woo! Talking about trusting myself. Then the full moon in Leo might be a little bit of a shitstorm for you, unfortunately. It happens in the 12th house, and it's at 13 degrees, which means it may be a breakdown in your faith, a breakdown in a karmic relationship, or a breakdown in your spiritual mission. This breakdown will lead you to understand that when it comes to your daily life, you must follow what your heart believes. Not what makes everyone else happy, not what makes everyone else well, but what your heart believes. And that brings us back to the mantra. You can only follow what your heart believes if you believe you have a unique life. That's the mantra. I believe I have a unique life. And you do. Virgos have a unique life, and that life that they have is actually leading us to the age of Aquarius. You rule reality. You make life happen. And isn't it interesting that in your chart, Aquarius is life? That means Virgos are meant to live a life of the age of Aquarius. They're meant to live the life of 5D before everyone else does. And it makes sense because if you're the generators of reality and you live in 5D, then we all live in 5D. And the only way to get there is to follow what your heart believes your life ought to be. We'll see you next week, Virgo. Folks, that's all we have time for this week. But before you go, be mindful that this is going to be a mind-blowing and spectacular year ahead of us. It's an astrological year like I've never seen before. And you don't have to go into it blind. You can go in prepared. My Countdown 2026 webinar is now available for immediate download. You can go to senseiChristopher.com and you can purchase this and watch it tonight. You get a full understanding of the year ahead, all the pitfalls, all the secret passageways, and what I call the way dates, something you'll have to watch the webinar to see what that is. Or in addition to, you can also purchase my Enchantment Step Astrology Countdown calendar. This calendar actually is amazing. It's a digital calendar that you just simply import into your own calendar, and it will have every important date, the way dates, the love fest dates, the set changes by the hour to local time. And you'll also have this fully importable into your iCal, your Windows, or your Google Calendar. It's all the dates you need to know with little warnings 3 days ahead of time. So don't wait any moment, friends. Start off the year right by going to senseiChristopher.com and getting yours today. All right, friends. Well, I'll see you next week. Have a great, innovative week. I love you. Live, love, be.